Hello, everybody. John Foster, Global Sports Network, Talking Tennis with John Foster. Got a couple stories for you and some information tips. A nice quote for you today. We'll get on to the first one about fundamentals, okay? And I'm going to talk about Jeff Tarango on this one because fundamentals, when I was at River Oaks one time sitting there with Jeff, there was a guy, I believe his name was Sebastian Grosjean. He was around 30 in the world, ATP, okay? Played at River Oaks a couple of years, and I love this guy's strokes. The way he hit the ball, just perfect. And I was asking Jeff, I said, how come this guy doesn't win anything? And he explained something to me that was very interesting. He says, if you can get three balls up about so high and instead of the strike zone, he'll make a mistake. So it comes down to that type of precision. Those people, for people that don't know the top level, but that's the top level, those little, very intricate details of what somebody can do and what they can't do. So strike zone was his weak point. But the fundamentals, the way the guy prepared the racket, just everything was perfect. I think he finally did something and got to like semifinals of a Grand Slam, but he hung out at 30 in the world for a long time. Fundamentals, you can see on my Facebook, I did a couple examples of beginning fundamentals. What's a fundamental? Fundamental is something that if you take the top 5 players, 10 players, really good players, and you find out the things that they all do. They all have their racket prepared. They all hit through the ball. They all hit from a certain stance. Well, stance can get, you can change that up a little bit, but there's still better stances in situations than others. So those fundamentals, and it's very good if coaches can distinguish between fundamentals and styles. Okay, let me give you an example of that. There's when you serve, the fundamental is the throwing motion going up over the head. And you don't need how you get the racket to go there. That's a style. How the feet go, whether you go platform or you bring the feet together. That's a style. They've had great players, number one in the world. Sampras, Agassi, all these great players. They've done a different platform or feet together. Well, who's better? Neither one's better. It's a style, how you get it there, whether you do the old-fashioned style or you bring it straight up, okay? But the fundamental is the throwing motion. All right, so fundamentals. I got a tennis tip for you today. Tennis tip is about score. We're going to talk score a little bit here. There's a time where it becomes very important. A lot of people think the first point's important. It's not important. A lot of times you like to win that first point, but it doesn't mean that it's important. You like to win it. But if you can't gamble on that first point, you're not a very good gambler. Or at least try something that you've been working on and trying to bring to your game at that time. Okay, I think that's a good gambling point. If you make it, you can gamble the next time. But when it comes to, so then it's 30, love. Let's say you won it twice. Can you gamble again? Why not? Then you lose that point. It's 30-15. Well, you can gamble again. No. 15-30, 30-15. Swing point. You have to understand the swing point. 30-15, whether you have 30-15 or 15-30, it's going to go like this or like that. So there's a big difference between that and that. You're going to have 75% chance of winning that game if you have 30. So how do you play it? Conservative, aggressive? Well, there's no one answer. You've got to play your game plan. Whatever game plan it is, make sure you're in the game plan. If you've been playing aggressive to beat this person, then you be aggressive. If you've been going to the net and winning your points, and that's giving you, make sure you get yourself to the net. If you haven't been going to the net and you've been staying back, don't go to the net. Just some examples. So you play your game plan and you got to realize it's an important point. Don't mess up that point doing something silly or being the hero. There you go. Tennis tip. All right. We're going to get into pattern training. When I say pattern training, I like, when I run my academy, I don't let the kids just hit the ball down the middle of the court. They have to hit angles and set up patterns. So they're not allowed to just start the ball in the middle of the court. They have to start at cross court, try to create an angle or do something and set up a pattern. And I have my own pattern system, 1 through 10, 11 through 20, 21 through 30. 1 through 10 starts with a forehand going through a deep angle. 11 through 20 goes with a backhand through for a deep angle. And then 21 through 30 goes with an inside-out forehand. And if you know 1 through 10, you know 1 through 30. Pretty much rolls around the same way. Anyway, pattern training. I shouldn't say good friend, but my friend Frank Viancos with USPTA. He's now the COO of the USPTA. I'll have him in an interview, and maybe we'll put a little bit of that interview on where he was showing me the nice headquarters of the United States Professional Teaching Association in Orlando, Florida. He gave me a nice tour. We'll put that up soon for you all to look at. We were talking one day, and he says, John, most pros only win with 1 or 2 patterns. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, Fred is right. And we talked about this years ago, maybe 15 years ago, or 10 years, I don't know, something like that, a long time ago. And that always stuck with me. It's true. When you have something, if you have 1 or 2 patterns, maybe inside out, inside in, or your forehand where you pull a guy off the court and then you can hit down the line. If you can do that really good, maybe one other thing, that's what you're winning with. It's not a million things you're doing. You need 1 or 2 patterns that you can dominate with, and that's how you win. So find out what you're good at, become good at it, and dominate people with that, okay? And then you find little chinks in their armor here and there, and you win other points. All right, we're going to wrap this up with a good quote from my favorite inspirational speaker, Jim Rohn. Okay, and Jim Rohn has to say, if you really want to do something, you'll find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse. There you go. John Foster Tennis. Facebook. I got some tennis videos coming out. YouTube, Vimeo, LinkedIn, Twitter. Starting to get involved a little bit. Stay in touch. Thank you.